She said, "Your mom called me controlling. Either she apologizes or I'm gone." I responded, "I'll help you pack." Then I actually started packing her stuff while she stood there in shock. When she realized I was serious, she frantically backtracked, but I had already called the moving company. I, 31 male, have been with my girlfriend for 3 years. We moved into my apartment together about 18 months ago. I bought this place 5 years back when the market was actually reasonable, so the mortgage is in my name only. She pays me $600 a month towards shared expenses, which is about a third of what she'd pay for a comparable place in this area. Let me give you some background on my mom. She's 58, widowed for 6 years now, lives about 40 minutes away, and she's legitimately one of the kindest people I know. She raised me and my sister mostly alone after my dad got sick, worked 2 jobs, never complained. She's not the overbearing mother-in-law type at all. She visits maybe once a month, always brings food, always asks if it's a good time before coming over. My girlfriend has had issues with her from the start. Nothing my mom does is ever right. The food she brings is too heavy. Her visits are too long. She usually stays for like 2 hours max. Her calls are too frequent. She calls me twice a week, maybe. Every small thing became this massive deal. I've tried to mediate. I've talked to my mom about texting before calling. I've shortened visits. I've bent over backwards trying to keep peace. But nothing was ever enough. Last Sunday, things came to a head. My mom stopped by to drop off some homemade soup because I'd mentioned having a cold. She stayed for maybe an hour. Normal visit. When she was leaving, she hugged me at the door and said something quietly that I didn't fully hear. My girlfriend was in the kitchen, definitely within earshot. After my mom left, my girlfriend absolutely lost it. Did you hear what she said to you? Did you hear that? Not really. What? She said, "I hope you feel better, honey. Don't let anyone stress you out." She was talking about me. She was calling me stressful. That's a reach. She probably just meant work or whatever. No, she looked right at me when she said it. And last month when we had dinner at her place, she asked if you were happy and gave me this look. I sighed. I'd heard versions of this before. My mom asking if I was happy was apparently a passive-aggressive attack. My mom saying I looked tired was somehow an insult to my girlfriend's cooking. Everything got twisted. "I can't keep doing this," I said. "She's my mother. She's not doing anything wrong. She's always doing something. She looks at me like I'm not good enough for you. She makes these little comments. She acts like I'm temporary. She brought me soup because I have a cold. That's literally it." And the "don't let anyone stress you out" comment, that was directed at me. You're reading into things that aren't there. She called me controlling last week. This was news to me. What? When? When you went to the bathroom at dinner. She said I seem to have a lot of opinions about your schedule. That's code for controlling. Or maybe she was just making conversation about how you mentioned I should skip the gym that morning. You're taking her side. You always take her side. There aren't sides. She's just existing, and you're treating everything she does as an attack. And then she said the words that changed everything. Either your mother apologizes to me for calling me controlling, or I'm leaving. I mean it. I'm done being disrespected. Her or me. Choose. I stared at her for a long moment. 3 years of walking on eggshells. 3 years of mediating between someone who wasn't doing anything wrong and someone who saw attacks in every word. 3 years of watching my relationship with my own mother get smaller and smaller because my girlfriend demanded it. "Okay," I said calmly. "I'll help you pack." She laughed. Actually laughed. Very funny. I walked to our bedroom closet and pulled out her large suitcase, the one she'd brought when she moved in. Unzipped it. Laid it on the bed. "What are you doing?" I opened her dresser drawer and started folding her clothes. Methodically. T-shirts first. "What are you doing?" You said you're leaving if my mom doesn't apologize. She's not going to apologize because she didn't do anything wrong. So you're leaving, I'm helping. Her face went through about 6 different emotions. Shock, confusion, anger, then something I'd never seen before, fear. I didn't mean, can you just stop for a second? I didn't stop. I moved to the next drawer, her workout clothes, folded them neatly into the suitcase. Babe, come on. I was upset. I didn't mean it like that. You gave me an ultimatum. You told me to choose between you and my mother. I'm choosing my mother. That's not fair. I just wanted her to acknowledge. You wanted me to force my widowed mother to apologize for having a conversation with me, for asking if I was happy, for bringing me soup when I'm sick. No. I pulled out my phone. She watched, frozen, as I Googled moving companies. Found one that did same-day emergency moves. Called the number. Hi, I need to schedule a move for today if possible. Just one person's belongings from a 1-bedroom apartment. Yes, I'll hold. Hang up the phone. I didn't. This is crazy. You can't just kick me out. You said you were leaving. I'm facilitating that. The moving company can have someone here by 4 p.m. The person on the phone came back and I gave them my address, confirmed the time, and provided my card for the deposit. The whole time, my girlfriend stood there with her mouth open like she was trying to catch flies. After I hung up, she tried a different approach. The tears started. I can't believe you're doing this to me. Over your mother. I've given you 3 years of my life. And I've given you 3 years of mine. 3 years of watching you pick apart everything my mom does. 3 years of you trying to isolate me from my family. I'm done. Isolate you? You told me I shouldn't go to Thanksgiving at her house last year because you were tired. You complained when I called her on her birthday. You made me feel guilty every single time I wanted to see her. That's isolation. She had no response to that because it was true, and we both knew it. I kept packing. By the time the movers arrived at 4 p.m., I had most of her clothes boxed up and her bathroom stuff in bags. The movers were 2 guys who looked like they'd seen this scenario before. Very professional, very quick. My girlfriend spent most of those hours alternating between crying, screaming, and trying to bargain. None of it worked. By 7 p.m., her stuff was loaded in the truck. She'd called her sister to meet her at some storage unit since she apparently had nowhere to go immediately. She tried one more time as the movers were finishing up. Where am I supposed to go? I don't have anywhere to live. You have your sister's place, your mom's place, friends. You're not helpless. I can't believe you're doing this over one comment. One bad day. It wasn't one comment. It wasn't one bad day. It's been 3 years of you slowly trying to erase my mother from my life, and I let it happen because I wanted to keep the peace. But you don't want peace. You want compliance. And I'm done complying. She stared at me like she was seeing me for the first time. Maybe she was. Maybe this was the first time I'd actually shown her who I was underneath all the people-pleasing. Her parting words at the door. You're going to regret this. No one will ever love you like I did. I hope that's true, I said, because this wasn't love. She left. I closed the door, sat on my couch in my suddenly quiet apartment, and for the first time in months, I felt like I could breathe. Update 1, 4 days later. So it's been 4 days since the move out, and hoo boy, things have escalated. First, let me address some questions from my original post. Yes, this is real. Yes, the move happened that fast. No, I'm not heartless. I'm exhausted. 3 years of being told my normal family relationships were problematic has worn me down to nothing. When she gave that ultimatum, something in me just snapped into clarity. Now for the updates. The night she left, I called my mom, told her what happened. She cried. Not because she was happy the relationship ended, but because she felt guilty. I should have kept my mouth shut at dinner. I never should have said anything about her opinions. Mom, you said she seems to have a lot of opinions about my schedule. That's literally just an observation. You didn't call her controlling. But still, no. You've been nothing but kind to her for 3 years. You've adjusted everything she asked you to adjust. You call before visiting, you text before calling, you've shortened every visit. None of it was enough. That's not on you. My mom is a saint, and I'm not letting her feel bad about this. Now, the fallout. My ex-girlfriend has apparently decided that I'm the villain of this story, and she's spreading that narrative far and wide. Day 1, her sister called me. I didn't answer. She left a voicemail calling me emotionally abusive for throwing her out on the street with no warning. The warning was the ultimatum she gave me. But okay. Day 2. Her mom called. I made the mistake of answering. How dare you treat my daughter this way? She gave you the best years of her life, and you throw her out over your mother. Ma'am, your daughter told me to choose between her and my mom. I chose my mom. Because you're a mama's boy. No grown man should be that attached to his mother. No grown woman should ask her partner to cut off his family because she's jealous of a 58-year-old widow. My daughter is not jealous. She just wanted to feel like a priority in your life. She was a priority, but she wanted to be the only priority. That's not healthy. You're twisting everything. She told me you barely spent any time with her because you were always running to your mother. I saw my mom once a month. Your daughter saw me every single day. If that wasn't enough attention, that's a her problem, not a me problem. She hung up on me. Good. Day 3. The flying monkeys arrived. Friends of hers started messaging me. Most I just ignored. One was a mutual friend who I thought might be reasonable. Hey man, I don't know what happened, but she's really upset. She says you kicked her out with no notice over nothing. Can you guys just talk? I sent him screenshots of her texts from the months prior. Things like, your mom doesn't need to call you twice a week, that's excessive. And, I don't want to go to her house for Christmas, can't we just do our own thing? And my personal favorite, if you loved me, you wouldn't make me feel bad for not wanting to see her. He stopped responding after that. Day 4, this morning, is when things got really interesting. My ex showed up at my apartment. She used the key she apparently made a copy of without telling me. I was at work, but my Ring camera caught everything. She walked through the apartment, opened closets, checked drawers. Then she went to my desk and started going through papers. When she found nothing interesting, she sat on my couch and cried for like 20 minutes, just sitting there crying in my empty apartment. Then she took a few things from the kitchen, some plates that were technically hers, a cookbook, a blender, and left. I changed the locks immediately. That cost me $180 for a rush job, but worth it. When I told my sister about the break-in, she was livid. She just walked in with a copied key she made without telling you? Yep. Sat on my couch crying for 20 minutes, went through my desk, then took some kitchen stuff. That's psycho behavior. You need to document this. Already saved all the footage. What do you think she was looking for? I'm trying to figure out what she might have wanted. We didn't have any shared assets, no shared accounts, no shared anything financial. Then it hit me. The lease. She'd asked me months ago if I could add her to my mortgage for security. I said no because, why would I? The house is mine. She pays rent, not mortgage. But she'd pushed back pretty hard, said something about building equity together. I think she might have been looking for evidence that she had some claim to my place, which she doesn't. The mortgage, deed, everything is solely in my name. Her monthly payment was structured as rent specifically because I wasn't an idiot. But still, the fact that she broke into my home to search for leverage is something. I saved all the Ring footage, just in case. Update 2, 1 week later. It's been 11 days since the ultimatum and 8 days since my last update. Things have somehow gotten both better and worse. Let me start with the worse. My ex has apparently found her story and she's committed to it. According to her and her family and her friends, here's what actually happened. I've been emotionally abusing her for years by prioritizing my mother over our relationship. She finally stood up for herself, and I cruelly threw her out on the street with nowhere to go because I'm a narcissistic mama's boy. The narrative has spread to people I barely know. A coworker who's friends with one of her friends asked me about it in the break room. "Hey, is it true you kicked your girlfriend out because she wanted you to spend less time with your mom?" I just stared at him. No. She gave me an ultimatum demanding my mother apologize to her for a comment my mom didn't even make. I said no. She left. Oh, that's not what I heard. I'm sure it's not. The version she's telling makes her the victim of a controlling, emotionally stunted man who chose his mother over his partner. The actual version is that she tried to control my family relationships, and I finally said no. But truth doesn't spread as fast as drama, I guess. I know all this because her sister sent me a 6-paragraph text explaining all my faults. It included phrases like, emotional incest with your mother, excuse me, and weaponized moving company. I don't even know what that means. I didn't respond. What's the point? She's also been calling my sister, trying to get an ally, I guess. My sister, bless her, has been shutting it down hard. She called me again, my sister told me on Tuesday. Cried for 30 minutes about how she doesn't understand what she did wrong, then said mom was toxic and asked if I agreed. I told her I agreed she should stop calling me. My sister's a real one. But here's where things got legally interesting. On Wednesday, I got a letter from a lawyer. Not a cease and desist, not a formal lawsuit. Just a letter on behalf of my ex, claiming she was entitled to equitable compensation for her contributions to the household during the 18 months she lived with me. I read it 3 times. Then I called my own lawyer, a guy I know from college who does real estate stuff but knows people in family law. His response after reading the letter: "This is garbage." Here's the breakdown he gave me. 1. She was never on the mortgage or deed. 2. Her monthly payment was explicitly structured as rent in the Venmo memos she wrote. 3. We had no cohabitation agreement. 4. In my state, there's no common law marriage, and even if there was, we weren't together long enough. 5. She has 0 legal claim to anything. Her lawyer is apparently either doing her a favor or just taking her money to send scary letters. Either way, it's not going anywhere. I had my lawyer send a response. Very simple. Your client has no legal standing. Any further contact should go through this office. Additionally, we have video evidence of your client entering the property without permission after returning her keys, which constitutes trespassing. We advise your client to cease all contact. Haven't heard from that lawyer since, but the entitlement from her family continued. Her dad finally got involved, a man I'd met exactly twice in 3 years, both times briefly at holiday dinners. He called me on Thursday, very aggressive tone from the start. "You need to give my daughter what she's owed." "Sir, she's not owed anything. She paid rent. She didn't contribute to my mortgage. She helped build that home with you. She cleaned, she cooked, she made it a home. And she lived there, rent-free for the first 6 months before I even asked her to contribute. Then she paid below market rate. If anything, she got a great deal. You're going to hear from our lawyer." I already have. He agreed she has no case. That wasn't entirely true. His letter hadn't explicitly said that, but it shut him up. He mumbled something about me not hearing the end of this and hung up. Spoiler, I did hear the end of it. That was the last time any of them mentioned legal action. Now for the better part. My mom came over for dinner last night. First time she's been to my place without my ex hovering and making subtle comments about the visit being long enough. She stayed for 4 hours. We watched a movie. She made her famous pot roast. She told me stories about my dad that I'd never heard. She fell asleep on my couch for 20 minutes, and I just let her nap. It was the best evening I've had in 3 years. When she was leaving, she hugged me and said, "I'm sorry you went through this, but I'm not sorry you're free." That hit me harder than I expected. Final update, 3 weeks later. All right, this is going to be my last update on this situation because honestly, I'm ready to move on. It's been about a month since the ultimatum and a lot has happened. Let me walk through it. First, the legal stuff resolved itself pretty quickly. Her lawyer sent one more letter, a weaker one this time, basically asking if I'd consider a settlement to avoid prolonged conflict. My lawyer responded with a detailed breakdown of why she had no case and mentioned the trespassing footage again. That was the end of it. No more letters, no more threats. The lawyer, I found out later from a mutual friend, was actually a friend of her family's who did this as a favor. He wasn't even taking the case seriously, just sending scary letters hoping I'd pay her off to make it go away. When my lawyer responded with actual legal arguments and evidence, he apparently told her family she had no shot and he wasn't going to court over it. She tried one more direct approach about 2 weeks ago. Showed up at my job, just appeared in the lobby and asked the receptionist to call me down. I work in a professional office building with actual security protocols, so they called me first. There's a woman here saying she's your girlfriend and she needs to speak with you urgently. She's my ex-girlfriend. Please ask her to leave. She's being very insistent. Then please call security. I watched on the lobby camera feed as security escorted her out. She was crying, making a scene, saying I was destroying her life. The security guard was very professional about it. Just walked her to the door and made sure she left. My HR department called me afterward to ask if I needed anything documented. I said yes. They noted it in my file as a personal security concern. Nothing formal, but there's a record now. My boss, who'd seen the whole thing on the security feed, pulled me aside later. Everything okay? Ex-girlfriend issues. She doesn't handle rejection well. Clearly. Let us know if you need anything adjusted. Parking spot, entry times, whatever. I appreciated that more than I can say. It's nice to work somewhere that actually takes employee safety seriously. Her family continued their campaign for another week or so. Her mom called me heartless and cold in a voicemail. Her sister tried to friend request my actual friends on social media to spread her narrative. Her dad, who I'd never even met, sent me an email saying I'd ruined his daughter's life. I responded to exactly none of it. What would be the point? They've decided I'm the villain. Nothing I say will change that. The mutual friends sorted themselves out pretty quickly. The ones who believed her version without asking me just stopped being friends. Fine. The ones who actually knew me, who'd watched my girlfriend criticize every visit, every phone call, every holiday with my family. They understood. One friend put it perfectly. She made you choose. You chose. She just didn't think you'd actually do it. That's really what it comes down to, isn't it? She was so sure the ultimatum would go her way. So confident that I'd cave like I always did. And when I didn't, when I actually called her bluff, her entire worldview cracked. I talked to my therapist about it. Yeah, I started seeing someone. Breakups are hard even when you're the one who made the call. She had an interesting perspective. People who give ultimatums usually don't expect them to be taken literally, she said. They're testing boundaries. They want to see how much power they have. When you called the moving company, you basically showed her she had no power over you at all. That's terrifying for someone whose whole relationship strategy is based on control. That made a lot of sense. Here's what I think happened over 3 years. She never actually wanted me to choose her over my mom. She wanted me to keep choosing her in small ways. Keep shortening visits, keep reducing calls, keep pulling away, little by little. Until one day I'd look up and realize I had no family left, and she'd be all I had. That's control, that's isolation, and I almost let it happen. The weirdest part of all this? She still doesn't think she did anything wrong. Her sister texted me last week. I haven't blocked any of them. I want documentation if things escalate, saying that my ex just wanted to feel like a priority and that any good boyfriend would have chosen his partner. I responded for the first time in weeks. Any good partner wouldn't have asked me to choose in the first place. Haven't heard from any of them since. As for me, I'm doing okay. Not great, not terrible. 3 years is a long time and the relationship wasn't all bad. There were good times, good memories. But there was also this undercurrent of control that I couldn't see while I was in it. Now that I'm out, it's so obvious I feel stupid for not seeing it sooner. My mom and I have dinner every Sunday now. She calls when she wants, visits when it works for both of us. We're rebuilding what got chipped away, and it feels good. Last Sunday, she brought up the relationship for the first time in weeks. "I want you to know," she said carefully, "that I never intended to cause problems between you two." "You didn't. She caused the problems. You just existed. But if I'd been less present, maybe—" "No, stop. You visited once a month and called twice a week. That's not excessive. That's normal family stuff. She was the one who decided it was too much. That's on her, not you." My mom got quiet for a minute. Then she said something that stuck with me. "Your father always said that how someone treats your family is how they'll eventually treat you." He was right. Yeah, he was. My sister checked in yesterday. "You know she's dating someone new already, right?" "How do you know?" "She posted it. 3 weeks out and she's already found someone who appreciates her." I genuinely hope that's true. I hope she finds someone who's okay with the dynamic she wants. Someone who doesn't have a family or doesn't care about maintaining one. Someone who won't feel the walls closing in when she makes small demands that turn into big ones. I hope she's happy. I really do. Just somewhere far away from me. My buddy came over last weekend to help me rearrange the apartment. It's weird how much space opens up when someone leaves, not just physical space, but mental space. I didn't realize how much energy I was spending managing her emotions, predicting her reactions, avoiding topics that might set her off. "You seem different," he said while we were moving the couch. "Different how?" "I don't know. Lighter. Less stressed." "Yeah. I feel lighter." She was kind of a lot, honestly. I never said anything because, not my place. But man, the way she'd get when your mom called, the faces she'd make, it was uncomfortable to watch. It's funny how everyone saw it except me. Or maybe I saw it too and just didn't want to admit it. The apartment is quiet now. My stuff is where I leave it. My schedule is my own. My family is back in my life in the way they should have always been. Was it worth 3 years to learn this lesson? I don't know, but I'm not going to waste any more time thinking about it. Last thing, someone in my original post asked if I felt guilty about how quickly I moved, about the moving company, the same-day exit, all of it. The answer is no. When someone gives you an ultimatum, when they force you to choose between them and your family, they've already made the choice for you. They're just waiting for you to rubber stamp it. I didn't rubber stamp it. I called the bluff. And now I'm free. Thanks for following along. Time to log off and go live my life.